I call to order this regular select board meeting for Thursday, May 11th, 2023. It is 6 p.m. Are there adjustments to the agenda?
No, oh no, it's open session. I don't have a sign-in sheet, but there is a to the agenda I have on your desk if you wish to entertain it. It's right underneath there. And David, sit down if you'd like. So this was an email David sent me yesterday, late yesterday, I think.
I can't hear you.
I can't either. You just muted yourself, I think. Or, you know what? Maybe they're frozen and gone.
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, hold on here.
I hear you now.
Okay, was it not being recorded before?
I think it did start the recording, but
Just odd that it said that again. No, okay. It's
great.
back.
Now we can see you too.
If you look at the, yeah, but it said now our recording was kind of odd. I don't know what that was about.
Maybe if somebody new joined, so that they knew they recorded.
Yeah, no, it could be that. Anyway, so that is the request.
So I have a question. Is this an adjustment to the agenda or is this a public comment?
No, it's basically correspondence involving the predicament you got the town of Underhill in.
Okay, well, what we can do, we don't need to make an adjustment to the agenda. It's either a public comment or we can read it during the correspondence.
If you read it during the correspondence, that'd be great. And then I do have one public comment, which doesn't have anything to do with that.
Okay, no other adjustments to the agenda?
No, it's.
Okay, are we open to public comment? Is there anybody here that wants to make a public comment?
Yeah. So I noticed on the Mountain Gazette the plan for the community orchard. And was there any soil testing done of that location, given the prior use of that location?
What was, no, I don't think so.
It would be really prudent to test the soils at Moore Park, given its prior.
No, not Moore Park. It's the pond, town pond.
It said both public lands of Moore Park and the Underhill Town Pond.
Oh, I don't think
they're doing, they were talking about Moore Park, but.
I think they decided to do it all at the, can I see that?
Yeah.
Thought they decided to do it all. At
So
the,
it's your public comment. You can say why you think that that's true. And we can, it's part of the public record. And those who did the planting, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. This was not a town initiative. It was.
The article made it seem like it was.
Right. Well, that's not correct. It was not a part of our initiative or the meeting here. We didn't.
Well, this says it was approved by the Select Board and the Recreation Committee. I believe this over you.
So it was just, if I remember right, they came here and we suggested that they get with the Recreation Committee. I think the Recreation Committee thought the better place to be would be at the pond because of the rank.
Historic use of that location.
And the Recreation Committee, and we just gave them, we didn't really authorize it. We didn't authorize any funds for it. We said, go ahead, communicate with the Recreation Committee to see what's up. But this being the public comment period, I don't want to get into a discussion because that's not what the public comment period is.
I understand your question.
And what you can do is.
So my comment is, if you're going to be growing food for human consumption, getting soil testing costs $25 from the UVM extension. It's trivial to do. And if the soils test great, then great. Building a community garden, awesome. I would personally recommend pear trees over apple trees just because of the chemical tending to be chemically intensive nature of apple tree production successfully versus pear trees. But to each their own. Not my land, not my problem. So, okay, that's my comment.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's a part of the public record, and I am sure that the rec committee will be become aware of that.
Okay.
6:05. So the first thing
Excuse me,
on the
just
agenda-
can you guys turn the video on for the town hall, please?
Don't you see the video, Bob?
No video at all, just audio.
All right.
Huh. Are you seeing me, Aaron? Are you seeing us? Aaron?
I'm not hearing either.
Yeah, sorry about this extra noise here, but we see you on
Aaron?
the MMC TV. Can you hear me? Yeah, sorry about
Yeah, we can hear you, but can you see us? Bob can't see us for some reason.
Yeah, I agree with Bob. I'm signed in twice. On one I can see you, on the other one I can't.
Okay, so that was what was that? I think we've got the wrong, some reason, I think we've got two meetings going here for some, I mean, I heard that when David Demers came in, I heard this meeting is being recorded again. So can we get rid of one of these? Something seems, I don't think it's on our end because the camera's on.
I don't know what the answer is. Maybe, do you want to just restart the meeting? Just jump out and jump back in?
It does say Underhill Conservation Commission on the
Yeah,
on
I
screen
see
that
that.
you're on.
I see it says that. Let me, let's do that. Let's quit the meeting and then rejoin. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah, I think I can stay, but maybe you just need to leave.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. Okay, hold on. So I tried to do that and it says, and I can't just leave because I'm the organizer. It says leave or leave meeting for all. End session for all.
Well, yeah, do you want to just quit the
Let
whole
me
thing?
check
Bob will
the settings.
leave it back.
Let me check the settings of the camera here. It's on the owl. Webcam, I'm going to bounce onto the webcam so you see me. Do you see me now, Bob? No.
No.
Owl just went off and back on.
Yeah, it should. I think there was something very weird going on with the two meetings. Let me see if I can just. Oh, okay. I've never had this problem before.
Definitely not on the owl.
I would suggest that you log out completely, shut it down, and then come back in, Brad.
Okay, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Moving on to the first item on the agenda, we we want to discuss the grant that we want to reduce to zero.
So just to.
Hopefully putting it in the bank for
Future remuneration.
increased payment.
So just to recap the meeting, I guess we had on the 4th, was it? The 4th of May. Yes, the 4th of May.
Yep.
Cricket McCusker, our engineer, came out. Dan and Patty were there. I do have minutes from that meeting. They just were not in your packet. But we looked at the synopsis was that the box culvert itself hasn't changed too much. The northeast wing wall is peeling away from the main structure. It has been for a long time, many years. Cricket suggested that we could put two big cement blocks, 3x5 blocks, stacked on top of each other at the base of the wing wall. That way, in case the wing wall did fail, it wouldn't fall into the brook. So that would be a fix and probably could buy us quite a few years.
And we have the waste blocks.
And we have the waste blocks available. Sorry, what this,
Just need a piece
hang
of
on a
equipment
minute.
to move them.
Hang on a minute. I don't know why this,
Well, we can move them on site ourselves, right?
yeah, so we,
get them to the site.
that's, yeah,
We can
that's,
get them to the site.
that's
Our
really,
excavator
oh,
can't
what the
reach.
frig? Hang on, I'm just having a bad day, okay? Bad day. You gotta be patient with me. I'm sick of this computer. So the bottom line is, forget about the blocks for a minute. So the question today is whether to rescind the grant on the mountain road in hopes of gaining a better position for the Pleasant Valley Road grant. So I prepared a TA 65 document. Patty, I've spoken with her. She's on board with this proposal. So it's up to you. You don't have to do it tonight. If you wanted to wait till Patty got here, you could do it. But I think after our discussion, we felt like it was the right thing to do. I think Bob might have some questions. I don't know. If you do, Bob, just raise your hand.
My opinion, Patty was on site and got the whole lowdown. And if she expressed her consent, I would like to know what Bob's feeling about it. And we can answer any questions that you have, Bob. And that's what's important to do right now.
Life is a bunch of risks and gambles, and I guess I'm willing to take the risk if we can put some blocks in to make some longevity with the mountain road, and try to hopefully secure some funding for the Pleasant Valley. I feel like that's more of a priority just because of the actual usage of the road. I'd like to see if we could try to capture the funds for that. I'm not dismissing Mountain Road by any stretch of the imagination, but I would like to see if we could try to do that. So I'd be in favor of, trying to give that, back and see if we could hopefully keep our fingers crossed and get some money for that bridge. Is it Bridge 7?
Correct.
Yeah, that's my thought.
I just would note too that Steve Abear was on site. He's the adjacent landowner. We talked over the proposal with him. He thought it was a good idea as well for what that goes for. He's the adjacent landowner. He would be probably most affected if something were to happen to that structure, but he understands. I've also heard from several other residents that happen to be following this in the select board, either on the videos or in the minutes. They also expressed that they thought that would be a wise decision, as the Valley Road is obviously a very important traveled way.
Yeah, I think the only downside that we've all kind of talked about is, it's a bird in the hand. We've got $200,000 from the state. We've got design to go execute construction of a new bridge at Mountain Road. But the deterioration rate at Mountain Road is nowhere near what it is on Bridge 7. And ideally, we could just play the shell game and move the money, but we can't. And we have to give it back to the state with no firm commitment from them, other than you go from 29th place to 12th place. And you probably won't get it this year, but you probably will get it next year. I'd like to see them commit more than that, but I don't think they're going to. So like you said earlier, Bob, I think it's risk reward here. And I think it makes sense that we turn back in the 200,000, and who knows, we talked potentially it might come back as 250 or possibly more. And certainly Bridge 7 is going much faster at this point in time than Mountain Road is.
Cricket also mentioned just one thing that Cricket mentioned. She said it shows the state that you're being very, proactive and very fiscally proactive. But go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say exactly that. I think that when we document that, I'd spell that right out to the state so that there's no ambiguity there, that they know exactly why we're doing this, and hoping that they'll see the logic behind what we're trying to do here. So, maybe that will pay a dividend. I don't know, but I would definitely make it very clear to them. in writing.
The important issues, Kurt, you made one, that the two issues are that it's not used as much as Pleasant Valley, but also the deterioration on Bridge 7 is much more acute. And
The salt use.
yeah, so and the inconvenience, I have no question that there will be a problem with the mountain road and inconvenience, but there's huge potential inconvenience on Pleasant Valley.
Mhm.
So the sooner we can jump on that, I think the better we are.
The only other thing I'll just note for the record that I think is kind of important is that the major flood event in 55 that took out Bridge 8 and took out the Stevensville Maple Leaf Road Bridge, that was a big rain event in 55, came off the mountain. The Harvey Brook, or this box culvert, was unaffected.
Anecdotally, Steve Hebert also said he's never really seen much of a rise in the water around the bridge. It happens, and it comes from not the stream, but it comes from up on the hill more when there's a water event. So I think that that risk too is not as acute.
Yeah, good point. So I guess you could entertain a motion. The motion would be something like that you move to rescind state grant BC 2171 and submit a zeroed out TA 65 form to the
And
state.
authorize the chair to sign.
Yeah, well, it's a place for each of you to sign. And
Okay. I so move. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on this? Any
Just,
other questions?
I would add to that, those forms being sent, that we draft a letter explaining our position.
certainly, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes carry this motion 2-0.
We're right on time, 6:20. Rick Heh is here to discuss the next item on the agenda, which is a possible rewrite of the schoolhouse usage policy. You might want to just pull a little closer so you can.
Okay. Yeah, the Historical Society has completed the majority of our renovations on the building, and we've shifted our attention, our focus towards cataloging and documenting our collections and creating storyboards of significant Underhill topics such as Civil War veterans and many schoolhouses that we have had. And our intent has been to increase the utilization of the building, in particular for Historical Society sponsored events. And therefore, we'd like to create a simple usage policy that dovetails with the town's building usage policy. And we've drafted, you have in your packet, a proposal that we'd like to have reviewed and approved by the select board, if that is possible. If I start with, I don't know if it's easier, I could just hand you that page.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about very simple activities that the Historical Society could approve on our own. There'd be no fee, and it would be for things, well, let me back up. It would be, for instance, no fee, no meals, no alcohol. The applicant would have to be a town resident. And if approved, the Historical Society would contact Sherry to make sure it's on the calendar and doesn't conflict with any other potential activities that might be set up for the schoolhouse. It would include potentially things like an art exhibit, which we have had an art exhibit. It went very well. A book club. We actually had a book club group in there about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And that too was very successful. Arts and crafts, a knitting group, hobby groups, coin club, stamp club, model making club. These are just the kinds of activities we're thinking benign, simple. A speaker, meetings, yoga, tai chi, a musical practice, or maybe a simple performance. Activities, however, that might be on the slightly larger side that would require Sherry's approval or the town's approval would be, again, larger activities that would potentially include food and or drink. Could be a baby shower, a funeral, a wake, celebration.
Are you talking about at the schoolhouse? Or?
At the schoolhouse. This is all at the schoolhouse.
Well, I thought that you said no food and no drink.
Correct.
At the schoolhouse.
Yeah, so these are activities that we would not want. We would not.
Okay, yeah. That
This is the
sense.
alternative.
And there are many people who would like to use the town hall for that.
Yes, and do.
Because they have a kitchen. Yeah.
Right. But again, so this portion, which is part 2, is again larger activities that we would not approve.
Right. Okay. I
And if there's any doubt, the final note here is if there's any doubt, if we're not sure, if it's on the cusp, we would bring it to Sherry's attention. This has been reviewed by Sherry, and she thought it appropriate and such. Page 2 is our little sheet that we would use for folks to actually propose their event to us so that we would understand the nature of the event. We actually do have a composting toilet, and we prefer not to use it, but if folks were to need to use it, we even have a checkbox here because it does require a bit of attention.
Right.
But again, the whole idea was to dovetail with the town's policy, which I believe has been largely set up for bigger events that likely would include food and alcohol.
It does not compare apples with apples because they're different.
Again, we'd like to keep it simple to historical society sponsored events. And again, such that we could simply approve them and then bring them to the attention of Sherry.
My gut reaction is I would applaud, cutting a little bit of administrative, chain of authority on that. And, the Historical Society also, they have taken such wonderful ownership of the old schoolhouse. And while it is town property, the Historical Society is bearing the brunt of honoring it and giving it attention. So I would have no trouble doing that. And getting that through.
Is there a fee currently for someone to hold a baby shower at the town hall?
Did you say a fee?
Yeah, it's a fee for the town hall. There is a fee.
There is a fee for the town hall. But also there are other amenities. There's food. And, they have to have also, if they have alcohol, they have to have insurance on it.
Well, I think you're going to have the same issue with any town building. So I'm not in favor of having it be free for anybody to use the schoolhouse. That I think the fees should be mirrored, whether they're having food or alcohol or not. And that money should be going into a fund to help preserve the building for future renovations or anything like that. I don't believe that if we're going to be charging money for the town hall, we should be charging money for the schoolhouse as well.
I think, Bob,
Not
we're
really.
not necessarily for a number of events that are occurring in the town hall, smaller events you will find. And again, we're talking a different nature of events here, things such as a simple meeting or, a small group or a presentation. And we hold meetings now at the
That's
historical site, the schoolhouse.
that's
For
fine.
example, there's no charge for the knitting group, for yoga or Tai Chi. People are just here. I don't think anybody practices their instrument up here, but, there are other things that are in the town hall that we don't have a charge for.
I
It's
understand.
more,
I understand the
and
argument, and I'm
most
not
of these
prepared.
things-
I'm not prepared to vote on this.
What's that, Bob?
I understand the argument. I understand the comment. I'm not prepared to vote on this.
Okay, we can wait until Patty comes back and readdress the issue.
Mhm.
And that's fair. And because Patty, other than looking at it online, with the packet, she has not had the opportunity to discuss. So I can honor that, Bob, and respect that. And I'm certainly willing to hold off.
Sure.
I think it's very good to have a full board, to make that decision.
Was Roger, are you going to speak to the historical marker?
No, Roger was planning, he told me he was coming in.
Okay. So in waiting for Roger, you want to switch up the order a little bit, Dan? And
Sure, because we're a little bit ahead, and we want to make sure Roger gets here. We're not that far ahead, but we certainly can do the planning commission appointment.
So in your letter was a recommendation or a memo from Brian Tion, the planning commission chair, advising that the nomination of Carolyn Gregson, 99 Pleasant Valley Road, for the appointment by the select board. This appointment will be a 4-year term ending April 2027.
Move to accept.
I will second that.
I think what you've been doing is accept the nomination contingent on signing all necessary policies and documents.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to rewrite the motion. Are you in favor of that motion, maker?
Yep.
I will second that with the clarity.
I think, Dan, that it should go without saying that, and I don't know if we need to put this in policy, but I like it to be recorded that going forward, that any appointment by the board must comply with our conflict of interest policies and other town policies before the appointment is valid. And if the individuals have questions or they're not willing to sign that, then the appointment would be negated.
That would be true. And then we don't have to worry about crossing that T all the time.
Right.
But it is an assumption in order to be a part of a committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes carry this motion 2-0, welcoming Carolyn.
So we just want to keep skipping. Have the
Sure.
fiscal year 24 Chittenden County Sheriff's contract. So this year, the voters decided to accept the $38,000 for the year for this upcoming year. So the sheriffs have used that number accordingly with their hourly rate, and that equivalates to 11.2 hours per week.
Motion to
And the
accept.
contract had Sherry review the contracts, the one we sign every year.
Motion to approve the Chittenden County Sheriff's contract.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes carry this motion approving the sheriff 2-0.
Moving right along, Bob had asked quite a long time ago to review the property acquisition and disposition policies. So I've been working with Dave Rue. Dave Rue did mention that most towns do not have a property acquisition policy at all. He searched as many towns as he could find, and it is not common. He did say that our policy was quite dated, and it really may tie the hands of the town. So he gave two suggestions. He made some edits as shown in your packet, or you could possibly repeal the entire policy. But I wouldn't recommend doing that without Patty here, obviously, but it's just, these were his suggestions, but I think he'd be leaning towards more or less repealing the policy. So I don't know how everybody feels about that, but that's what I know.
I think we can wait for Patty to come back and have her have a voice in that matter.
Okay. I just wanted to get it out there.
That'd be my preference.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of a long range.
Yeah, I just wanted to get it on the
Very,
docket.
very good. And bump it to old business is a good idea.
Yeah. So we'll go back in order. 6:35, and Roger is here. Come up to the table, right up, slide right up.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, we have to introduce ourselves as well.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. I'm Roger Fry from Beartown Road, representing the Underhill Historical Society.
I'm Eli Danduran from Pokerhill, and I'm with Roger, so.
Okay.
So our purpose is the application that we provided to then forward to the state preservation in hopes to get a historic marker for quite a important person back towards the founding of Underhill, Udney Hay. So we just need it reviewed and then passed on to the state.
Oh, that's over on Pokerhill. Is that the photo of the actual building? Or is just the land we're marking?
Yeah, the land.
Yeah. And I see he was a town moderator in 1796. I remember that.
Yeah. Well, if you want a little bit more history of just.
So please do, for the public record.
Okay.
Enlighten us. We have some time. We're ahead
Okay.
of our schedule. So please enlighten us.
Well, okay. Part of the historic preservation is that they have some monies in the state for state roadside markers. They don't have a lot of money, and it's a numbers game. You never know if there's 30 applications in line and there's only approval for 20 markers for a certain time frame. They may just reject it, or they may put it back in the queue for the next year. I've been through that as well before. So they have the final say, of course. As far as the Pokerhill location, that is Udney Hayes' original farmhouse. It's owned by Robert Devlin and Jessamy Pratt. And they were consulted from the get-go. And they're all ready, willing, and able. And we met with them, Nate Sullivan and Robert, for Nate to agree to, the right of way and et cetera. So Nate agreed to the position that the Devlins sort of would like, but that can change depending on, again, bringing Nate into it. But so that's really it. And as far as the researcher, I'll turn it over to Eli he can speak to Udney Hay if you'd like.
I just have one quick question. You don't believe that's the original farmhouse?
No, it's not the original.
No.
It's just the property.
Yeah, what we know that. Yeah.
It sounded
Yeah, I
like
didn't
It
realize.
sounded it's kind of sounded like his original farmhouse, but go ahead. Sorry.
It's
Just for the record.
Yeah, so as far as like the historical significance, so he was a prominent officer during the Revolutionary War. Like he personally knew George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, corresponded with like Aaron Burr. You can see a lot of his letters and where he was referenced in the Founders Archives online. There's over 100 letters either written to or from or referencing him. George Washington personally recommended him to be the quartermaster general for the entire army in, I think it was like 1777, 8. Forgetting the dates now, but he was like very highly regarded in the army. And then afterwards, when he moved to Underhill, he became a prominent politician. So you can also see online in the State of Vermont website has access to newspapers.com for all Vermonters. So you can see around between like 1796 and his death in 1806, there's a lot of political references to him in the newspaper. So he was very prominent in politics at the time. And Underhill is also referenced like in relation to him as being like a political center at the time because of him. So that's kind of where the location importance comes in as well.
it's even more dramatic when if I may, with the population being 212 in
Yes.
1800. And here's a man by the name of Udney Hay, who's known all the way through the colonies, not just in Underhill or Chittenden County, and someone who's the founder of the Democrat-Republican Party, which was in its infancy for the United States, right here in Underhill. So, I mean, he's a pretty dynamic figure for such a small community, and then onto being known again throughout the colonies, let alone Chittenden County. So
Yeah, that's impressive. It would be good to be a fly on the wall at those town meetings where he was the moderator.
Yes.
The
yeah,
man probably had stories.
Yes.
yeah. He was an activist, so we don't know enough one way or the other how vocal he was, but
Right.
he made things happen. I think the flower back in those days, and it was 1806, he was put on the Council of Censors for the state of Vermont, which was a big deal for anybody who was selected by the governor to be on that council, which, because they were overseers, oversight committee, if you will, for the state constitution, et cetera. So here again, the state found this guy in Underhill and put him on, I think, a 9-member committee. And, they could have just gotten all the famous people from, Manchester and below, right? Arlington,
Yeah,
put them on it.
yeah, very good.
Is there a stake where you want the sign to be?
Yes, well, yes. In fact, I have color photos if you want to.
Yeah. I'm just concerned. I'd like to check the right of way.
Yeah,
And please say again, Roger, what's the application process?
the one section that has to be completed is, has the select board been advised? And then there's a place to sign off on as accepting the,
Right there, probably.
to move forward with the effort to apply for the marker.
Then it would
It's the last
probably,
box to check, in other words,
Mhm.
is. What's that?
then you'd want to also follow up with the zoning administrator, right? Once you got approval, follow up with the zoning administrator, place the sign.
Okay,
I think that would be the proper
Now,
way.
these historical markers or signs, they're all uniform and they come
Just like the one in front of the,
correct. And it comes out of the state coffers?
right, they cost $4,000 to $5,000. Robert certainly knows how heavy they are. He was nice enough to pick up the one for the schoolhouse and moved it himself, Robert. And so, I mean, the state coffers, yeah, they pay for everything, including the pole. They just ask that the town highway department
Install it.
install it.
Very good. And the Historical Society is doing their job, being aware and attentive to these gems.
Yeah,
There's probably more.
yeah, yeah.
You're not done yet.
No, if you want a quick update.
I didn't know anything about this, so this is great. And the stone is up there in the cemetery in North Underhill.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I guess I have a quick question.
Yeah.
The connection's pretty bad. There's a lot of static. So I don't know how that's going to come out on the recording, but I do have a question. So we have a historical marker on town property, and I guess my concern is that if the landowner right now is okay with this, what's to say that future landowners will also be okay with this, having the marker on their property. I would hate to have a marker erected onto this location and then, 5 years from now or whenever the property owner decides to sell for whatever reason, that, we may have to remove that marker. I don't know if that's something that, is just, not to be concerned about, or if that is a legitimate concern. We have the other markers on town property, so I don't think we ever have to worry about that. But is that a concern, Roger? You think that we should, maybe consider?
well, it's in town right of way. It's going to be in the right of way of the road. But I think what Bob's getting at is like, yeah, our speed limit signs and anything dealing with the roadway has the right to be in the right of way. This may be a little different. Any thoughts?
Well, it's a legitimate question for sure. The majority of the historic markers are on town or city right of way anyway, and with the property owners just signing off on it as they did. So how the property owner would handle it for their title, I don't know that answer. I could ask the preservation. I can ask that question of they probably had that question, so they may have an answer.
This road is also a little different. It's a county road. It's laid out by the legislature. or the courts, handled a little differently than just your ordinary town highway. It's a 4-rod right of way, clearly marked by stone walls each side. So road might not necessarily be in the center, but the stone walls indicate the right of way very clearly.
Yeah, we were aware of this stone wall. Nate was well aware of it. And I don't know, I don't know how to follow up with the county.
It wouldn't be the county. It would be, might be good to talk to somebody like District 5, V-Trans. But
All right, we can follow through with that. Do we need an answer for that before we can confirm
I don't think so,
okay.
but Bob just went away,
Bob just went away.
so he might, maybe he just lost the connection, he'll be back. But, I can't do it by myself.
Right.
Gotta be 2 of us.
And state preservation, when you get in the queue, it could be 6 to 8 months or a year before you end up with a sign.
Yeah, well, we waited since 1796, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to be flip about that. It would be good to get it quickly in the loop.
Yeah.
And we can.
So Bob said stand by. So really gonna kind of should be on pause here. We don't have a quorum.
We don't have a quorum.
Oh, Bob's
I need to go and check on something in my car.
Well, hold on. Bob came back.
Okay. Bob's back.
We can see you, Bob.
Yeah, no sound.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Fine.
Oh, good. All right.
And we see your forehead.
Well, good.
So did you miss anything, Bob, about that?
About my forehead?
No. The sign.
No, I support Roger in the sign. That's not the problem. I'm just concerned that, I'd hate to have us put the sign up and then, have to take it down, and just make sure we're doing our homework as far as, if, once we put it up, it's there for good, and it's either on our land or we have something in writing from the current landowner that says it's okay for that marker to be there. And I don't know if that needs to necessarily be recorded in the deed or if that just needs to be a letter or what that needs to be, but I would just try to be mindful of that because the town doesn't own that property.
Are there any other signs like that on private property?
Well,
In the
well
town?
let's hold off
No,
a minute.
not down,
It's not a given that that's private property. So as I say, we go back to the county road. This is a really early road. So it may well be that the landowners have underlying title to the center, but it's also possible that that they don't. So, but it could be something run by the town's attorney.
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable doing that just to make sure. In principle, I support the idea. It's just a matter of I hate to get too far into this and find out that we didn't dot that I or cross that T, so to speak.
But I think to Roger's point, it is a good point. Most all the signs you see everywhere, well, a lot of them are in state right of way, so that's different. But because they do have title to many of their right of ways. Anyway, we can do a little checking.
That'd be good.
Yeah, and we would put it on an agenda after we check it. You wouldn't need to come again to present it. it would be on our agenda. And we appreciate what you've done, with that.
Good.
Do you want to say that you would support the application if things check out, or are you going to support the application and we're going to check into it?
I don't know. Would that be an okay thing to do? Because we do support it.
If you got awarded it and you found out different information, you could always either not accept it or change the wording somehow, put it down at the cemetery.
I mean, follow through and getting in the queue before we get.
But
Or
it's,
we wouldn't have to wait 2 weeks if we would, approve it now and, subject to
Bob
clarification.
has something. Yeah.
is this time sensitive?
No.
Go ahead.
No,
I can't hear you.
Oh. Bob, no, it's just that we don't know how many applications are in. Well, they wouldn't tell us that. But I'll also call the state preservation and ask the question.
That would be a good idea.
And I'm more than certain they've had that question before, so I would think. And so I can report to you tomorrow.
Well,
Very good.
that'd be good. Wait to hear back.
Okay. I'll mention County Road as well. So,
Yeah, I can get you some more information on that.
yeah, we're gonna need it anyway if we're gonna start putting signs up everywhere.
Roger, do we have a picture of this guy?
Of Udney, hey, no.
Do we have a portrait
1800,
Maybe a painting.
yeah.
or anything?
We haven't settled on that at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
It
Some
would
of
be
those Washington someplace.
Yeah,
it would be kind of neat if we were going to solicit ideas on the next town report if we were successful in doing this. That having a write up, and if we had picture was the wrong thing, because that's the easiest thing I think of nowadays. But going back to that date, it probably would have been a portrait or something like that. But I would think that'd be kind of interesting for the residents to read about. And I appreciate your efforts in all the discovery that you've done so far.
yeah. Eli is obviously the researcher, but we graduated to planning an event where people could come and we could perhaps do a PowerPoint, but of course we're still missing his face. But
Yeah, well, maybe there's something out there,
yeah,
if he was a national figure at that time.
I would start with the Vermont Historical Society or the Library of Congress.
Yeah, I would think so. And we do have a picture of his gravestone. That can be one picture.
This guy wouldn't be related to Rick Heh, would he?
Different spelling.
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Nice to meet you.
thanks for coming. Thanks for your research.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
We enjoy it.
So, Joe McLean, our attorney, drafted up a school bus turnaround agreement, and I ran this by. So basically, these were kind of some of Nate's concerns that I wrote down and passed on to the attorney. The only comment that Aaron Little had with the first draft that's in your packet, that's different than the draft I have here, is on number 4 on the second page. It just reads, all school bus drivers shall review operating procedures with the Underhill road foreman and their immediate supervisor prior to entering the town garage property. So we omitted the part where the school bus driver has to get out of the bus if the gate is open and shut the gate. School bus drivers can't leave their post. They have to stay behind the seat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only change. Bob's been in on those emails, but otherwise they've checked it through with their insurance policy and they're okay with it. And if you're okay with it, I would probably, you could make a motion to authorize the chair to sign the agreement.
Yeah, looks good.
We agreed that that gate wasn't, the gate is typically left open, correct?
Exactly. The gate's open all the time. So I don't know where the gate even came into it, but I was just transcribing what Nate had written down by hand to the attorney, and he added it in there.
So that's omit. I think we should omit that.
I did. So sorry, you didn't hear that part, but the one in your packet has it, but I just read what the revised one is. Basically, just omits that, and I have a copy here with that omitted.
It makes the point that the gate shall be open.
Right. So I'd move that we authorize Dan to sign the agreement, the revised agreement as presented tonight.
I'll second that. Further discussion?
That's gonna be effective immediately, so that they can.
We'd have to get their signature back, and then it would be ready to go.
Okay, sounds good. I know the Gibson family is anxiously awaiting that this get done. So,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. The ayes carry this motion 2-0.
The other thing I just stuck in here because Dan Albrecht from Chittenden County Regional Planning suggested that I do is the Chittenden County All Hazard Mitigation Plan Update Committee. It says, see attached, we encourage you to bring this up to the select board council meeting and also engage with your residents. So basically it's a link to a survey, I believe, regarding the 2023 State Hazard Mitigation Plan update. And I'm just bringing it to your attention, and I can post this on Front Porch Forum so people know how to participate if they want. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
So as you know, I put a post on Front Porch Forum. We've lost our ability to post public notices in the post office, even though we own the building. When we lease to the federal government, they have full control on what gets posted and what doesn't. So there's been a lot of inspections lately, and I've heard from the postmaster in Underhill Flats where we do not post, but that they usually get written up when they come in and they see that sort of thing on the board. So and this all came from one day I went in to post something and the board was completely stripped. So, and then I saw the rule right in the front. I asked the postmaster in Underhill Flats, and then he told me what I just told you. So temporarily, by your suggestion, Dan, we've got the food shed sharing said, so we're obligated to put it in 3 public places. So we do Jacob's Family Market right now currently, and we do the Underhill Town Hall inside sometimes and for important things, but always outside on the board. So there's a couple different options, and maybe I guess it would make the most sense to be more central would maybe be to propose to put one of these signs like we have out front in the Memorial Park in Underhill Flats. But
Yeah, could do that. Remember, we put this sign up with, what did we call that money? Elger money?
Yes. So anyway, we looked these up. They're kind of expensive. We could wait till the new fiscal year if you wanted to. I could ask Jen to see how we stand, because it is a fairly
Yeah,
significant
I think that
expense.
I wouldn't know where to slot it, and we weren't expecting it.
No,
And it's not a part of the budget.
right. And it's just maybe more or less, I just wanted to get your thoughts on where, I mean, the fire station's one place, but people be coming in and out of there. It's not really that, Amanda mentioned the pie shop. That's possible, but I'd have to ask them.
We could do it on the church door. They did that in 1518 in Wittenberg, Germany.
Sure.
Martin Luther nailed it on the church door. That was a public place. Anytime anybody showed up, they see it.
Right.
So Brad, back to the post office. The little parking area across the street from the post office, that's our land, or?
Well, it's in right away again. It's in the town right away. Of course, there's a house there now. Never used to be a house there, but there's a house there now. Whether they'd be crazy about looking at the back of a big sign, I don't know. Maybe it could be tastefully placed there. Could also, another option is to put it in the little green here, the little triangle green by St. Thomas, by the stop sign. It's another place. But
So we can't put a message board on that land that we own on the post office property. I mean, I understand that we can't put it on their bulletin board, but if we erect a bulletin board and it's weathered, weather protected, and we put that on our land that they lease from us, is that against the rules?
I don't know. It's a good question.
That's not our land.
It's not?
That is. You're talking about the Underhill Central.
Yeah, Underhill Center Post Office.
Yeah.
I could. That's a really good question, and I could try to find the answer to that. But knowing the Postal Service and how they operate, it might be a hard answer.
That is a good observation, though, Bob.
Yeah.
We could do it, right behind the picket fence, so it would be in the town right away, even.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Like, the public has gotten used to having that, be a place of information for decades,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden we're playing by the strict rules of golf because, I'm just like, well, then I feel that, we should ask the question of trying to keep it in its original location. And if that fails, then we can, look at other locations. But before we start running around all over Underhill, I would like to try to keep it right where I think it ought to be, and right there at that Underhill Center post office location. Not maybe it can't be in the building, but maybe we can erect something outside.
And in the right of way, like a combination.
In the right of way.
Yeah, combination
And
on that property.
protected by the
rail.
fence.
Or by either way. We can take a look at it. I'll walk down there with Sherry and see what she thinks.
Yeah.
All right, sounds
Check
good.
out the federal rights.
Right, exactly.
Good idea, Bob.
Sounds like a good idea. And I agree. It's hard when you get used to something being in one place and it's not anymore.
Well, it'll be more prominent even.
Exactly. So that's that. So, in anticipation of purchasing a new excavator, Nate has been talking with Case and John Deere and Sammy and Caterpillar. They're kind of narrowing it down. They really like the Case. They like the Case brand. They'd like to try one out for a week. So Brian Tibbetts, who used to be in Westford, Underhill town line near Cloverdale, has one that's almost brand new. And Northfield is using it next week, I think, for a week, and they're renting it for a week. So we look to the budget and say, well, okay, do we have $3,200 to spare somewhere? And Nate suggested using it. If you see the equipment rental, there's only $700 left in that, but he does not anticipate using any of the money for the hauling. So there is money there where in subcontractor hauling. So the money could be taken from there. The other excavator they want to demo is a Sammy, and that is no charge. They just have to go pick it up. And it's just a day demo, I think. Maybe 2.
Do we have the trailer to do that?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I'm assuming our trailer's inspected and it's good to go for this equipment. The only caveat is we do need to put insurance on both of these items, and Sherry's been in contact with VLCT, and we would certainly do that. So if they're really leaning towards case, it would make sense to try it out for a week and get a really good feel for it and see if it's something worth buying.
So why isn't this going out to bid?
Yeah, good question. I don't think there are many case available to rent. Maybe that's the reason, but I could ask Nate that.
I'm not in favor of renting anything. I'm in favor of putting this out to bid and finding out, where the manufacturers are coming in at for price, and based upon that will probably lead to which ones we're going to consider, and then once we have that information, then the guys, I wouldn't have a problem with the guys going to wherever and trying one out at the dealership. I don't know why we would want to rent any of this equipment for a week and spend thousands of dollars and having to truck it and put insurance on it and everything like that. If they want to sell a piece of equipment, then I would think that they would have a salesman available or a salesperson available and be able to show us the equipment and why we would want to consider that. But I think the first step is that we ought to be drawing up a spec sheet on what we want for an excavator and putting it out to bid.
Well, I think they do. They do have spec sheet, and they've been looking at all of these brands, 4 brands, and they've narrowed it down to the models that they want. And they have rough pricing. They're just trying to see if that's really the one they want to pursue or not. But yeah, I can. I'll get back with Nate and suggest that. I think Case teams up with Tibbetts. That's the reason, because they set up the hydraulics for the dealer. So.
And where is that dealer located?
I'm not sure. I think Case is maybe in Milton, if I remember right.
It used to be that big one on the road out to the Champlain Island.
Right, on the right. That was Case dealer. Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I can find that out. So I don't know. I haven't been dealing with any of this. The only people I've been in contact with is Sourcewell. And I've got the contacts for each of the dealerships, but until we know the exact model and spec they want, there's no sense of going to Sourcewell, because you don't know what you want. So they were trying to narrow it down to exactly what they want.
Yeah, you can't really get a bid, on different brands if you know you want one brand. And we may be limited. It's not like they make these things, they have them all over the place.
I think next time I'll just let Nate come in and speak to it, because I really have no idea. As I said, I was in contact with Sourcewell, and I have the Sourcewell contacts for all of these dealers, but they need to tell me exactly the model they're looking to get. So you just can't say, oh, we want an excavator and, I need specs. So
right.
Well, let's do this, Brad. We have an excavator right now, right?
We own ours, yes.
Yeah. Well, let's start with that. That's the spec that we have, and it's worked well for us. If there's 4 or 5 major manufacturers of these things, then let's see which one is comparable to what we have now.
I think it's a little more complicated than that. It gets a little more fine-tuning. I'm going to let Nate to speak to it, because I have no idea. And there's no rush. There's no rush on this thing. We're using our excavator. Let's find out from him next time.
The new excavator we get is not going to be like our grandfather's excavator.
No, and there's a lot of subtle differences.
Yeah.
And I'll let Nate explain that better.
Sounds good.
No problem there.
And do we have more than one highway crew that can vet that?
Well, they're all been involved in the process here. You
Okay.
know, I think Dwayne, since he runs the excavator most of the time, he's been involved. Nate's been involved. Rusty's been involved. They've looked at a bunch of different models. This is like, I think they've got it kind of narrowed down what they're looking for. It's just now, you know, actually getting their hands on one. But maybe, yeah, why can't we just get it right from the dealer? I'm not sure of all the answers to that.
Yeah, unless the dealer doesn't have them in stock, but if they want to sell us one, one point Bob made is a good one, that the dealer should have one available so that we can see what it's like.
Yeah, I think you're going to find it's pretty limited out there these days. I don't think there's much out there to choose from. So,
right.
Maybe that's why the Tibbetts connection. I have no idea. And Caterpillar, kind of leaning away from Caterpillar a little bit. Lots of electronics, lots of, Caterpillar has changed.
Too many bells and whistles.
Possible. I guess that's it. What did we say we're going to do with this comment that David Demers had?
That's in correspondence, but we have to do warrants.
Okay. I didn't know. I was just trying to figure out what you were doing with that.
It's just a correspondence.
Got it.
We can read it into the public record.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine. So we have a closing public comment period. We ready for that?
I think so.
Nobody else is ready for that. So I guess we won't have it. Since no one is present here in the room or on the screen. Moving on to warrants and minutes. I move that we approve the AP warrants for 5/11/2023. Any questions on that? Or, well, first of all, second.
I second it.
Any questions or discussion on any of these? I don't either. All in favor? Aye. The ayes carry this motion. These warrants are approved unanimously, 2-0. I move that we approve the routine monthly or quarterly.
Those are auto pay.
Auto pay. That's the word I was looking for. Auto pay warrants for 4/1 to 4/30/2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion on that?
Not by me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The warrants are approved, 2-0. I move that we approve the payroll warrant for 5/11/2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those warrants are approved. And we have one set of minutes that's only, we can hold them off for Thursday, April 27th, when only Patty and I were present. So we'll hold that one off, but I move that we approve the select board meeting minutes for Thursday, April 20th. That was the select board meeting that was actually a hearing for the ARPA, where different people came to express their views. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are approved for the select board meeting that was the ARPA hearing, and we will defer these to the next meeting when Patty is present. And So member items correspondence. I'll read the correspondence first. And this is a correspondence from David Demris. And he makes a request, who I suppose it's a reasonable one, but the town hall staff will have to assess that, who run the website. He requests our town to place a link, and he gives the link on our town website. This has to do with his appeal to the Supreme Court. Voters deserve to be aware of all relevant, non-privileged legal matters of significant public concern, which we have continued to face our town. In addition, a link to the audio recording of the Second Circuit Court oral arguments before the Second Circuit Court on December 1st, 2022, would be appropriate as a relatively concise backstory to the legal issues presently being considered by the United States Supreme Court. I should clarify that, though, they aren't yet being considered. They are applied for. In addition, all the voters signing the 2020 petition on public accountability deserve to know why individually named select board members refuse to recuse themselves from decisions involving the duly submitted advisory petition. The lack of any meaningful consideration of the conflict of interest complaint against the select board chair, Dan Steinbauer, due to his alleged long-standing pattern of refusing to recuse himself from matters indicative of a structural due process conflict of interest, should also not be concealed from voters. It is untenable. Non-citizen residents of Montpelier and Winooski literally have far greater rights to vote in matters of local concern than hundreds of Underhill resident citizens, which have been denied their right to vote on duly submitted advisory articles, which should have been placed on the 2021 town meeting day ballot. This is not something that was in effect because it was not on the ballot and the citizens did not vote on it. But I submit this.
And Donna, I can just send you that to attach to the minutes or whatnot.
Good. Do we have any other announcements?
Yeah, I have an announcement. Actually, a member correspondent or member input. Yes, I'll say that. So, Brad, I would like to have us explore why it is that every time someone wants to submit something in writing to the select board, that has to be read into the record. If someone wants to, submit something in writing, then I think that we can certainly have a printed copy and that can be made part of the record. But I don't know why. I fail to understand why that has to be read into the record. If we have a public comment period for the public to come in and they can certainly say what they want to say within the time frame that is given. But I don't understand why, if we receive a correspondence, that has to be read into the record. Why would we not just make a copy of that and attach that to our minutes? Is there a reason why we have to read that in, or just because we think that might be?
Can I see that again? So typically, when there's any kind of a meeting and someone says, "Oh, I can't make it. Can you please pass this along to the board during public comment?" And in this case, he's asking to present my below request at the select board meeting tomorrow. So that's why I started out by saying, do you want to add this to the agenda? So, and in hindsight, I think since it's you and Dan, maybe because it's a request to the Underhill Selectboard. So, but I responded to David and I told him perhaps this would be better at the next meeting if you wanted to make that request. and then it'd be up to Dan to whether he wants to add it to the agenda or not. So, but anyway, if someone does make a comment and they specifically ask it being read into the record, I think we kind of have to do that. But you're right, we could just attach it to the minutes and go that way. I'll get some clarification from
But
you.
it was a request for the website, and the select board does not micromanage the website. So I don't want to get into making decisions about what's on the website and what's not. And I think that the people who, operate the website can figure out how to do that. It seems innocuous enough. I mean, it's only a link. People can click on it if they want to. Nobody's forcing anybody.
Well, I guess I'm not aware of municipalities involved in litigation where they might put the link to litigation. I'm not afraid of having the link, but I don't know if that's necessarily common practice that a municipality would do something like that. And number two, I guess I'd like to entertain the idea of a policy that if someone has a written correspondence that they want the board to have, that it should be, made available 72 hours, just like everything else, to be on the agenda to take a look at that. I guess I'm kind of leaning on that, we read it and it's part of the record and move on. I don't know that we really need to have that read into the record, per se.
And maybe we need to get a legal opinion on that.
Yeah, I just want to.
I think that
I
would
think we all try to be as transparent and open as we can, and I think your suggestion is good, Bob. I'm just gonna pass it on to Donna, and she can add it to the record, and that'll be it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. No, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
So the next meeting's on the 25th, and we should have everyone here, I think. Any conflict, Bob, or Dan?
I don't think so. The 25th is
Getting close to Memorial Day, but
no, it looks good right now.
Very good. We will be here. So I move that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Please stop the recording.